Did Gus go to the grand jury, find out where the grand jury was?
I went today, and there is no grand jury receptionist. They gave me the name of the I forgot what her title is. I think it was a jury clerk that schedules all that stuff, and she's going to be in tomorrow morning, so I'm going to go back tomorrow morning.
And what are you going to ask her?
I'm going to ask her where I can find I can find them online, the stuff on the grand jury, but I want to see all the information that the grand jury get when they're seated, all the stuff available to the public. I just want to get a bunch of information, and then I'm going to start asking the questions about common law claims and having a presentment made by a man and not the prosecutor, and bringing that claim forward to the grand jury, because I want to bring my own claim to the grand jury.
Okay. Do you remember what I said, what you're supposed to ask them? Remember the most important thing to ask them?
I don't remember the most important thing.
The most important thing, is this a legal grand jury or is this a constitutional grand jury?
Yeah.
Well, it's not, it's the most important thing.
Well, it's the most important thing for them.
No, for you, because if they say it's a legal grand jury, you're wasting your time.
Well,
is it based upon, is the grand jury, constructed upon the New Hampshire Constitution? Or is it based upon some sort of legal doctrine, legal policy, legal procedure? You and I could have a grand jury right now.
Yeah.
Some guy named Charles, who listens to this stuff all the time, he could set up his own little grand jury out in the middle of the woods in Oregon right now if he feels like it. What is it premised upon? What is it based upon? What is this grand jury? What is it? Is it a legal grand jury? And I'm sure they're going to say, it's a legal grand jury. Is it a constitutional grand jury? They'll say no.
Okay.
They'll be based upon some sort of codes or rules or regulations. Is it based upon canon code? What is it based upon?
Okay.
Acts of the legislators? How is it based? You got to ask them, what is it based on? What is this grand jury based on? Is it based on legalese? Is it canon code? Is it constitutional? Is it based on the United States Constitution? Is it based on the New Hampshire Constitution? What is it based on?
Well, that's exactly what it's going to be based on, is the legal stuff, the legal society,
you don't know.
the legislature.
You don't know?
Sure I do. No, I do know. Everything comes from the legislature over here.
Well, New Hampshire has a constitution. I thought everything's supposed to come from the Constitution.
Well, I'm going to have to dig out the provisions of the Constitution. I've written about it in the past. I think it's Article 21 in our Bill of Rights over here, which describes the jury. Article 15 talks about you have the right to be fully heard, which would involve the grand jury. But I got to dig it all out. I wanted to get together with somebody over there, ask them a bunch of questions, and then start looking for the way to convert that grand jury into a common law grand jury when I present.
Okay. Like I said, you better find out.
Yeah.
You look silly by putting a whole bunch of paperwork and asking a whole bunch of questions unless you don't even know. Is this legal? Is it based upon a constitution? How is this based upon?
Yeah. I'm going to find out.
Because, like I said, it's funny because, even this guy Charles keeps saying trial juries are pure common law due process. No, they get trial by juries, by trial juries. And you could define a strawberry as a trial jury. It depends on who is defining the term. Now, he wants to define the term, and it only means one thing. Well, that's his belief. Now, we had a whole bunch of brain surgeons, and we're going to say we're going to have a jury trial here today. That means we're all going to get together, and we're going to each going to get, take apart one section of this guy's head. We're going to slice it up into 12 sections. So it all depends on where the term, who is defining the term. It can mean anything to anybody. It's the same thing when I try to tell people. You can't tell people what a certain word means. It depends on who you're talking to. You go to one culture and you say this word, it's okay. You go to another culture and you say this word, it's a cuss word. It's a curse word. It's one of the worst things you could say to the man. It all depends on what culture, what society, and who's defining the term. So, that's what it's funny. Somebody said I went easy on Rod Class. It's like, I went too often. go a little easy on him because I knew he had a lot of his fans and followers on there. But there was a man that I went to go help out in Indiana 2 years ago. I think his name was Greg. Not sure. But when I went out there, Rod Class had spent 10 days in this man's house, 10 days. 10 days sleeping on a man's sofa, 10 days. Writing some paperwork for him for an IRS case that he was involved in. And when I got there, the man said to me, Greg said to me, you're more than welcome to sleep on the sofa. You don't got to get a motel room. I said, no, that's okay. I'll take a motel room. And he said, well, Rod Class was here for 10 days doing some paperwork for me. And I said, okay, that's lovely. And he showed me the stack that Rod Class had done for him. It was like, I'd say almost 5 inches thick. And I'm sure they went through a lot of ink cartridges and, killed half of rainforest to print that thing out. But when Rod Class left, the man put it into the court. And when Rod got there, the man had two federal felonies on him. When Rod Class left the man's house and the man put the paperwork in with him, they gave him 2 more additional federal felony charges, indictments. So when I got there, he had 4 indictments against him. So like I said, it was funny when Rod was saying last week, well, I'm just here to help people put paperwork in and help them with the paperwork. Well, his paperwork is going to get you some additional federal felonies, basically premised upon extortion and communicating threats. That's, is very aggressive language that he uses. And totally opposite what I do. I'm like, yeah, not a problem. I'm totally guilty. Yeah, and what's your point? I don't speak legalese, and what's your point? My name is not taxpayer, and what's your point? I don't have a legal name. I only got the name my mom gave me. I got a given name, not a legal name. You got the wrong person. Stuff like that. So funny. When I got to Greg's house, he says to me, he said, let me see the indictment you have against him. It was pretty thick. It was about an inch thick. And I found the key words I was looking for on the second page. And I told the man, I said, well, this might take a little while. I said, why don't you go make a cup of coffee for me? It was 9 o'clock at night, and he had to stay in his house at 10 o'clock at night because he had an ankle bracelet on. And I wanted to get a hotel room, and I didn't know my way around that little tiny town where he lived. So I knew I'd better get it done in about a half an hour. So I told him, go make a cup of coffee. Because the man, he just kept asking me questions after questions after questions. I was like, oh, man, would you just, shut up so I could read the sandpaper? But I don't want to be rude to the man. So I said, you know what, hey, why don't you go make me a cup of coffee? So by the time he got done making me a cup of coffee, I heard he'd wrote what he needed to put into the court. And I said, when are we supposed to meet up with these folks? He said, Thursday. And it was always Saturday night, Sunday morning. It was going to be Saturday, 9 o'clock at night. I said, damn. I said, do you think you could move it up to Monday that we could, get out so I could get the hell out of here and get home? So they moved it up to Wednesday, but they want to move it up to Monday. But the first thing I did is I got rid of those 2 federal indictments against them, charges against them that Rod Class paperwork generated that created. So like I said, I was going to ask Rod, hey, what about this guy Greg in Indiana? Remember this guy Greg that you went and slept on a sofa for 10 days? You got to remember him. And I would have asked him, and whatever happened with that paperwork that you gave him? What was that net result? And I would have loved it, but I don't want to bash the guy too bad, I was being nice last week.
Yes, you were a gentleman. I appreciated it very much.
Yeah, but what kind of answer could he possibly gave me to that question? You see what I'm saying? What would he said?
Well, you would have put him on the spot.
Yeah, he would have said, yeah, well, I guess 5 inches of paperwork is going to kind of piss the court off. It's like, yeah, because, like I said to Rod, and Rod even said that the little traffic court lady in the little town in Ohio said to him 15 years earlier, don't bother bringing any of that paperwork into this court because it's not your court. You're not an attorney. You can't use this stuff. And I'm not going to look at it anyway because we don't care what your interpretation of Ohio code or the traffic codes are, the Constitution or the Magna Carta. We don't care what your interpretation is. You're not a member of the legal society. We don't care what your opinions are. And that's what I try to keep telling people a million times. It's like if Rod Class this is the kind of guy who'd walk into the Boy Scout Society, the Boy Scout Jamboree, and starts sitting there amongst the Boy Scout, troop leaders or whatever they call those guys who are the leaders of this Boy Scout society, Boy Scout group, and he'd start whipping out the Boy Scout code handbook manual and telling them that they're doing it all wrong. And they'd be like, we're doing what? Oh, you're doing it all wrong. You see, the flag goes over there, and you sit over there, and that guy goes over there. You're doing it all wrong. I'm here to show you Boy Scouts how to fix your Boy Scout society, how you doing your codes all wrong. So he was trying to say last week, it's like, oh, well, I'm doing the legal society, and I'm showing the legal society how they're doing it all wrong. And I'm bringing out all the procedural errors that they're making. It's like, dude, the same thing the Boy Scouts will tell you. Are you a Boy Scout? No. You get the hell out of here. You a Boy Scout? No. Then who gives a damn what your opinion is? So it just makes you laugh. It's like, he's like, well, I'm just showing them everything that they're doing wrong. It's like, dude, you're not one of them. They don't care. They couldn't care less.
It's just spinning your wheels.
Yeah, you're just wasting your time. Oh, yeah, and it was funny before I hung up before and I came in the house, so I had to take care of the animals. But so it was funny. One funny thing that man said, he said, oh, make sure you never put a zip make sure you never put a zip code on anything because
that's Doug. Doug is still on, and he's unmuted, so you can talk directly to him.
What I'm just saying, what I think is funny is when people send me letters, and I get hundreds of letters, when people send me letters and I don't see a zip code, I go, uh-oh, here's a nut job. Uh-oh, this guy's going to be a hard nut to crack. Uh-oh, this guy's going to give me trouble. Uh-oh, I got to deprogram this guy's brain. Uh-oh, he's listened to too many YouTube videos. Uh-oh, here we go. Because the only thing it does, it puts a target on your back and says, uh-oh, this guy's a wacko. This guy's a tax protester. Okay, we're going to really concentrate on this guy. We're going to break this guy. That's the only thing that does. I mean, when I get letters and I see people doing, when I see the four-corner bracket or the zip code in the box are non-exempt, and I see all kinds of crazy stuff on the envelope, I go, uh-oh. I don't even know if I really want to answer this letter. I don't even really know if I want to even open it.
Wait a minute. Okay, Doug, so what do you say to that?
I haven't had any problems at all not using a zip code, and it wasn't because I was listening to any YouTube videos. It wasn't because I was listening to any YouTube videos. I read the law. It's voluntary. They can deliver mail without a zip code.
Okay, but what Karl is saying is that it immediately puts a target on your back.
I don't have a target on my back. They have left me alone.
Okay, I didn't say you personally. Okay, I said when I see it. Okay, I didn't say when the IRS sees it. I didn't say when the FBI looks at it.
Okay.
I didn't say when anybody. I said when I see it. I said the first thing it does is sends up a flag. And I'm telling you, if you start doing crazy things on your envelopes, like putting crazy names like family of or whatever, and you put family crests all over the stuff, or you put American flag upside down, or you put stamps on the on the bottom on the wrong side. Oh, dude, I'm just making this stuff up. I don't even know if any of this stuff exists. All I'm trying to say is, if you do anything out of the ordinary, they're going to pull your. Okay, it's just everybody knows almost every single thing in mail processing, it gets automated. It just zips through the line. And the machine just basically scans everything. They see something, the machine doesn't pick up a zip code, it throws your letter out. I mean, you know that. It throws your letter into a bin. So your letter is getting special attention. And I don't want my letter to get special attention. I don't want to stick out in the crowd. I just want to get in and out as fast as I can. I don't want to draw no attention to myself. So when I write letters to these people, I make it look so plain Jane that they never see me coming. They never have any idea where this letter is going. I just write a nice little simple letter to them and say, oh, are you the man or the woman who's been assigned this case? Are you the man or woman who's been assigned, to this matter? Thank you. Kind regards. Have a happy holiday. Have a wonderful day. And I sign my name. I just make it super simple. I just want to get them man on man. I just want to get them one on one.
Well,
I'm not an executor. I'm not an executor. I'm not a trustee. I'm not a trustor. I'm not a grantor. I'm not anything. I am not a beneficiary. I'm just a man. That's all I know. I don't want any other titles. I got too many other titles in my life already. I'm a dad. I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. I'm an uncle. I got Way too many titles. I don't want to be a beneficiary. I don't want to be an executor. I don't want to be anything. I just make it so simple it's scary. And nobody could place a title on me nobody could call me taxpayer. I can't accept the title. Thank you. It's a wonderful title, but at this time I got my hands full. Are you calling me taxpayer? Is that a title? No, I'm sorry. I can't accept it at this time. It's going to be quite a burden on me. And I sure know you don't want to burden your fellow man, with, undue responsibilities. I can't be obligated to you at this time. I got way too many obligations on my plate right now. I just write nice letters like that. I don't go using 3-syllable, 4-syllable words. I just talk as plain as possible, and that's exactly what the judge in England said to a man in England when he got on my show. The judge said to him, if you want this common law, stuff to work, you better keep your words down to 1 syllable. You better stop talking like an attorney. You better just talk like a common man. You better start using 1-syllable words. Because you start going off on these 2, 3, 4-syllable words, you're talking like an attorney, and we're going to treat you like one. You want to be a legal person? We'll treat you like a legal person. The judge said to me, what's your name? What, my given name or my legal name? The judge would say, my legal name. I said, I don't have a legal name. I'm not a member of your legal society. Just like I don't have a Boy Scout name. Like my name isn't Big Bear Running Leadfoot. I don't have a Boy Scout name. My Boy Scout name isn't Chief Running Bear, Lead Buckles. I don't have a Boy Scout name. I don't have a legal name. I'm sorry, I'm not a legal person, Oh, you're looking for the legal person? Oh, I don't know where you can find that. I think you found some of these documents over here. I think that legal person you're looking for might be over here. But no, I'm a man. And I only have a given name, and it was given to me by my mom. And she told me not to give it away to anybody. But you can call me Carl, but that's about it. So like I said, I just try to play it as simple as possible. It was like Rod Glass said, when he said that the judge lady 15 years ago, and this was a little traffic court judge lady, a little traffic court in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, he said. Even she knew. She said, don't use our stuff. We're not going to look at it. We're not going to accept your interpretation. We don't care what you think it reads. We don't care. We don't care how smart you think you are. We don't care. You're not one of us. It's just like the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts. You're not one of us. We don't care what you think the Boy Scout manual says. We don't care. So that's what I'm trying to say. If you want to try to play their game, they're not going to accept you into their crowd, into their group. You have no certification. You've got no proof of any knowledge, working knowledge that, you're competent at it. So why should they listen to you? Just like me and my friends. If me and my friends were doing some excavation work or we're doing some welding and you come up to me, it's like, well, I read a welding manual and I think this is how you should weld something. Oh, really? Are you a welder? No. Then what could we possibly want to know from you? Well, the book says this. Okay. Have you ever done it does the book say what to do when it's over 90% humidity? I don't think so. Yeah, well, it's over 90%. We're going to have to do it a little different here. Well, the book says, I don't think the man who wrote the book was in a humid climate. I think he might have been in a dry climate and he might not have understood that this is how you have to do it when it's wet out. So it's like, thank you for interpretation, but you know what? You're really wasting my time. So like I said, when it's their case, you basically just have to back off and let them do their case, just like I did with Bali in England. The first thing we walked in there and we basically just said, yeah, they're guilty. Why? They're guilty. Of course they're guilty. Why? Because they're not legal persons. Look at them. I said, thank the Lord, sweet Jesus, they're brown skinned, so they don't look like you people, white English people. And thank God, they're from India. They have their own culture, their own language, their own beliefs. They're Punjabi. So what they're doing over here in England, you might think is crazy, but where they come from, it's par for the course. It's how they do business every day. So, yeah. So are they guilty because they, in breach of some sort of legal procedure, legal practice? Absolutely. They have no freaking clue what the hell you people are going on about. They have no idea. They haven't done a damn thing wrong. Now, have they done some against the legal code or legal procedure? Sure. Is it illegal what they did? Absolutely. I'm not arguing
So what
that.
if they weren't brown? What if they were just white guys or black
I
guys?
said, fortunately, that's what I said to the judge, fortunately for me, it's going to make this case extremely easy for me because they're brown skinned. So you can look at them and say, they are not part of this culture. They are not part of society. I said, if they were white and they look like you or me, it might be harder for you to believe that they are not legal persons. Like me, I am not a legal person. But I look like you, and I talk like you, so you would probably believe that I'm just, no, you're just making believe that you don't really know what's legal and not legal. No, I couldn't care less what's legal and not legal. It's none of my concern what's legal and not legal. That's why you put it in paperwork. That's why you put it in writing, so they don't have to take a look if you're black, if you're white, if you're Indian, if you're Eskimo, if you're Aboriginal. You don't have to. You put it in writing. You say, I am not the legal person. I am just simply a man. And I've done no wrong. There's simple letters like that, simple notices like that. 2-3 sentences tops, and I'm done. Making it crystal clear. I'm not a legal person. I've got a given name called Karl Lentz.
You don't say anything about using capital letters and having your name in all caps. You don't go into any of that?
I just make it normal. I just make it the way my mom told me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I try to tell people. And this is what the judge in England said. If you want this common law stuff to work, just talk like a common man. Just use one-syllable words. Just talk plain. Don't do anything fancy. Don't use any big words. You don't have to explain. We could see when a man is before the court. He's talking like a man. He's not talking like an attorney. He's not talking like a brain surgeon. He's not talking like an airline pilot. He's simply talking like a man.
Listen, there's somebody on the chat here that is Identitas is saying Karl just admitted he knows that common law only applies to white people.
Common law is unwritten. There is no law. Like some kid asked me that the other day. Some kid calls me up and says he wants to do the common law. He wants to help people do common law. I said, kid. And he says, the practices of the people at the time. I said, yeah, that's my definition. I said, what does the law dictionary say? What does every single law dictionary say about what's the number one term that it says, the number one definition of common law? And he was like, I don't know. I said, well, you want to do common law and help people, and you listen to my shows, huh? Yeah. I said, kid, if you wanted to be a veterinarian, what does that mean? He says, well, that means I help animals. I said, there you go. I said, if you wanted to be, if you wanted to be a baker, what does that mean? He's like, well, I bake cakes and stuff. Good. And you want to do common law? What does common law mean? He's like, I'm not really sure. I said, why don't you go find out? He says, well, what kind of book can I go read about and study about the common law? I said, what do you mean? He said, how far back should I go? I said, why don't you go look at paintings on the caves where the caveman's painted and they explained it in paintings to their children, simple things. And they just doodled it on the side of a cave wall. They said common law is unwritten. It's just the practices and the beliefs of the people throughout the ages as they've been passed along from generation to generation. It's unwritten. There is no book that explains about the common law. And like I said, you have a guy like Charles say, yes, the common law, you could find it in English, 1640, Chapter 7, 362, Section 5. It clearly explains the common law. It's like, no, the common law is not written. It's the beliefs of the people and the society of the culture, like the Punjabi culture. They might have had the same beliefs for the last 4,000 or 5,000 years. And now we're coming along trying to tell them, well, no, it's common law. You got to serve butter and you got to do a replevin, and then we're going to file a motion in trova. They'll be like, what? That's common law? No, that's not common to us. This is what we've been doing for 5,000 years. If somebody took our cow, this is what we did. Oh, well, that's called a replevin. So you got to file a replevin. No, we don't. This is the way we've been doing court for 5,000 years, and this is the way we're going to keep on doing it. We don't care what you want to do. This is a public courthouse, a public court building. You run your procedures under the legal code, under the legal procedures as you wish, and we're going to run it under our procedures the way we've been doing it for thousands of years. We don't need your help. We've been doing it just fine without you. And this is what I try to tell people. The legal society is just trying to encapsulate the whole entire world into just abiding by a certain set of codes, so that if you do something wrong in China or Istanbul or Greece or, no matter where you are, it's going to be the same code. It's going to be like freaking Star Trek, where we're all Earthlings. We're not Greeks. We're not Brits. We're not Scots. We're not Irish. We're Earthlings. They want this one unified planet, one global, like Star Trek. Most of the people who probably listen to your show right now love Star Trek. And that's what they want. They just want one global community, one Earthlings. There's no nations. Everybody abides by the same codes. It's ridiculous. I don't want to live like that. But, some people call me primitive and all this other stuff, so that's fine. I don't want to be an Earthling.
Okay, but the common law applies to everyone equally, right?
Well, it depends. Whose society? If this is Sharia law, if you're 1/3 of the world practices Sharia law, and obviously there's a hierarchy there. Certain people can do certain things, and certain people can't. Like women can't drive cars, women can't do this, women can't do that. But that's their common law. You go over to Saudi Arabia, and you have millions and millions of people running around there. Their common belief, their common law is women can't drive cars.
Okay, but he's saying here in the chat, common law came from the English. It's common to white English people.
That's ridiculous. Okay. Whoever's saying that is just being ridiculous now. He's just wasting his finger space typing things. Because common law is if the common law is unwritten. If he looks up in any dictionary, the very first thing he'll see under common law is unwritten, the unwritten law. Now, if you're saying English common law, that's fine. Then the English common law is a common law for the English. That's fine. Are you trying to tell me there's not a common law amongst Eskimos up in the Arctic Circle, where there's no paper, no pen, no books ever? Are you telling me they don't have a certain tradition and customs when somebody steals from somebody, that they don't hold court somehow amongst themselves and render, justice without paper, pen, and ink? That's their common law. It's Eskimo common law, just like English common law. So that's ridiculous to just say common law only can mean one thing. That's what I was saying before. When somebody's saying grand jury or jury trial, it's like grand jury can be a brand of ice cream. Just be who's defining what a grand jury is. It depends who's the one who's defining it. And if you got somebody else who believes in what you believe in, that, hey, you know what, I got this great ice cream called grand jury. What? Yeah, it's really good. And the next thing you know, millions of people are eating ice cream called grand jury. Instead of calling it grand apple or grand grape, I call it grand jury. Why? I don't know. I just like calling it grand jury. It's my brand of ice cream. It doesn't mean there's 12 people that are sitting in that little ice cream container. That's ridiculous. It's whoever defines it. And whatever catches on, whatever popular. It's a belief. That's all law is. Law is just an opinion. At one time, last year, if you had a gram of marijuana in Colorado, you went to jail for 20 to 30 years. Now if you have 3 metric tons that you're selling in Colorado, they give you tax incentives and tax breaks to open up a store in the middle of capital city. So you can sell 300 metric tons because that's how much more money they can get in tax revenues and tourism in that section of the town.
And they put you on the local. They put you in the local newspaper as the new up and coming businessman.
Yeah, the entrepreneur of the month. Yeah. But a year ago, if you sold 3 ounces of it, you went to jail for 15 to 20 years. And if you did it within the school zone, well, that was another 30 years tacked upon it. So laws are just an opinion. At one time, it's illegal, and then the next day, it's legal. That's ridiculous. Law always stays the same. Is it lawful to sell pot? Of course it is. Was it always lawful to sell pot? Of course it was. If I had pot, and I wanted to sell it to somebody, and they came up to me and they said, "Look, you got pot to sell?" "Yeah." "Well, I got a bicycle. How much will this bicycle get me?" "I don't know. It'll get you 4 ounces of pot." "Okay." I gave him the 4 ounces of pot. He gave me the bicycle. That's lawful. He gave me something. I gave him something in return. That's lawful. Nobody stole anything from anybody. Nobody did anything unlawful. Now, is it legal? I don't give a damn. It's like, oh, well, you did it. You could only sell pot on Mondays through Friday from 4 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can't do it on Sunday because there's a blue law in your state. I say, I ain't got time for all this nonsense. I'm just here to exchange with my fellow man goods for services, or services for services, or goods for goods. I couldn't care less what somebody who lives 1,000 miles away from me says how I should or should not conduct business Monday through Friday or alternate Sundays or national holidays. I don't care. I got things to do. I ain't got time to worry about what somebody's saying, how I should or should not conduct my business, conduct my life. Thank you, but I think I got this under control. I think I got this covered. If somebody wants to make a claim, not a complaint that I'm selling something on Sunday, someone wants a claim that because I sold something on Sunday, it caused them harm, let me know. And then they don't have to take me to court over it. They just have to tell me, hey, can you stop doing that? Why? Because you're causing me harm. Oh, okay, I'll stop doing it then. Or if I can't stop doing it, but can I compensate you, or can I do it over here instead of doing it over there? So like I said, it also depends. Am I in the public or am I in the private? It all depends. But common law to just say the English invented it, oh, that's nuts. They've always had, people have always had a certain set of rules and how to abide by certain customs and beliefs. Just to say the English created common law, that's ridiculous. Did they create their own terms? Sure. Did they do Trovan or Plevins and all that other nonsense? Sure. That's their words. That's within their culture, within their society, and that's what it means to the English. That's fine. That's their common terms. And then again, like people, if this guy is typing, whoever's typing, he'd say the same thing. It's like, wait a second. Won't you find something in your English common law where the English attorneys, the law society that decided to no longer be a law society but to be a legal society, and didn't they abolish the common law in like 1880 or 1878? Didn't they abolish the common law? Which is ridiculous, because the common law is the unwritten law. How could you abolish the unwritten law? There was nothing to abolish. What, you just stop people from thinking? It's like, oh, you can't think no more. What? Yeah, the common law, it's unwritten. Right? So how did the English develop the unwritten law? Where did they write it down? How did they store it? How did they record something that's unwritten? So I don't know who this guy is who's just giving you a hard time and just typing just because he feels like typing. Or if you watch something on YouTube video and said what the common law was. But if you look in every single law dictionary, it says the unwritten law. So it's unwritten. How did the English develop it? What's he talking about?
Nobody was writing 500 years ago. People couldn't even read.
Everything was in Latin, and the only people who got to write were the priests, the members of the clergy.
Hey, what do you say about the like today? I mean, there's a lot of literature, there's a lot of stuff being written, and people have a lot more access. But the maxim of ignorance of the law is no excuse. That's been around for a lot longer than print has. I mean, everybody knew 500 years ago what the law was, yet it was unwritten, and there was no excuse.
Right. That's right. It's still true to this day.
That's right.
If the cop says that to me, he said, you need a driver's license. I says, no, I don't. He says, yes, you do. I said, no, I don't. I need a driver's license to drive a car. What do you mean? I stick it in, that's what I put in the steering wheel, and I turn left and right with the driving license. I need it to drive a car. I don't need to drive a car. What are you talking about? I don't need a driver's license. He said, well, ignorance of the law is no excuse. What law? Whose law? Not my law.
Yeah.
It might be your law, but it ain't my law.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse. If there was such a law, I'd already know about it, and I don't. So.
Yeah. That's right. And like I said, you have to be a member of their society. It's like ignorance of the Boy Scout law is no excuse. So if you want to say that you want to be an upstanding member of the Boy Scout Society, and you're not wearing your hat to the left, you're wearing it to the right, and everybody knows you're supposed to wear it to the left, and then you're not going to be a Boy Scout in good standing, and of course, then you're a person and within a society, and within that society, depending on your rank, they could hold you liable. And according to your rank and to your duties, you got certain responsibilities, and you don't live up to those obligations. Of course, they could fine you. Of course, they can impose upon you. They could reduce you in status or rank, or hold you in contempt, or fine you because that you're not living up to the standards in which you agreed that you abide by. Just like a family, your dad gets to give you a timeout. Your dad gets to punish you. You got a certain duty and rank within that little family, and if you're not living up to your duties and carrying out your responsibilities, you're going to be imposed upon. You're going to have the consequences for failing to meet those obligations, which you should, because you agreed to do the thing. You agreed to be a team member. You agreed to be a team player.